listeners, and welcome to yet another episode of the Nigeria Football Weekly podcast from your host, Okoye. Today's episode 91, and boy, do we have a very, very jam-packed episode for your listening pleasure or viewing pleasure if you're on YouTube. As you know, today is August 27th, and the new head coach of the Nigerian national team has officially been announced as Bruno Labbadia. The German tactician has been announced as the manager of the Super Eagles. We don't have too many details yet on how long the contract is and maybe other information, but after 2.5 months, it's good to know that we at least have a coach to coach the national team. So, hallelujah. Also, the Nigeria squad for the AFCON qualifiers against Benin and Rwanda taking place next week has been announced today, literally about 2 hours ago. So we'll just be touching on what that list looks like and any surprises and just dissecting the squad. And then we will touch on the player reviews for the week and ones to watch. So without any further ado, let's get started. So who's Bruno Labbadia? Bruno Labbadia is a seasoned football coach, extensive experience in the German Bundesliga. He's pretty much only managed in Germany. His coaching career spanned over 2 decades at the moment, and he's got a reputation for being a crisis manager, stabilizing teams in difficult situations. I hate to say, but is giving Germans Sean Dyche or Sam Allardyce, to be honest. At least that's what the evidence shows. I've heard of his name before when I've heard about the Bundesliga, but I'll be lying if I said I knew too much. However, we've done our research, of course, and just a bit more for you to know about him. He had a very, very good, successful playing career. He was a striker and he scored well over 200 goals in his career. He also played 2 seasons at Bayern Munich, where he won the Bundesliga in 1994. So at least all Germans will be very aware of Bruno Labbadia. He transitioned into management in the early 2000s and he since coached several Bundesliga clubs. His first job was SV Darmstadt between 2003 and 2006. So that was his first coaching job, and he helped them avoid relegation from the 3rd division in Germany. Then he moved to Greuther Fürth. You remember, anyone who listens to this podcast for a while, you know there was a Nigerian player, Dixon Abiyama, who played for Greuther Fürth. I'm not sure where he is now. But there, he was in the 2nd division of the German tier, and he gained attention for his tactical acumen and ability to develop young players. After that, he spent 1 season at Bayer Leverkusen, where he led the team to the DFB Pokal final, basically the FA Cup final equivalent in Germany. His tenure was actually marked by attacking football and the development of young talents. So he's not always just about defensive solidity, but he was dismissed after failing to secure a top 4 finish. Mind you, this was 2009, so 15 years ago. After that, he had 2 spells at Hamburg, where he's best known from rescuing the team from relegation in 2015. His ability to stabilize struggling teams became a hallmark of his coaching career. He also managed VfB Stuttgart twice. So he had initial success, leading them to a respectful Bundesliga finish and European qualification. That was between 2010 to 2013. And in his most recent 2nd stint, which was his last job in football, he managed Stuttgart in the 22-23 season, but he was sacked subsequently after a very poor run of results. There was also a time where he managed Wolfsburg in the 2018-2019 season near the relegation zone, and he guided them to European sport by the end of the season, showcasing his ability to transform a team's fortunes. So tactically, we know that he's a bit more pragmatic, which is why I said Sean Dyche and Sam Allardyce. He's very adept at, adept in terms of strategies based on the team's strengths and specific challenges. So he's always known for defensive solidity and counter-attacking play, flexible formations, and also player development. When you consider that with the Nigeria team, it's clear that this is going to be the most impressive attacking talent he's ever dealt with. Let's just put it that way. Him being hired by Nigeria probably because of experience in crisis management, still a European name. We know how sometimes our NFF love Weibo's, you know how it goes now. Tactical flexibility is one of the things I've seen here. But more importantly, I've heard he's very, very disciplined, and in terms of organization, that's one of his core strengths. So we should expect to see Nigeria have a more structured and cohesive unit in the same vein as Pesero had us playing in the AFCON. But obviously, we'll see how he performs. We've never seen him manage a team with this kind of firepower. Would he be able to maximize our attacking talent, especially against lesser opponents? That's my one big worry. It's all well and good having defensive solidity, but when you're playing Rwanda and Benin, with all due respect, you're expected to dominate the game and create chances and force the issue. Your opponent's going to sit back anyway because you're still Nigeria. Whether people say you haven't been performing well or not, you're still one of the best African footballing teams on the continent. So how is that going to change for him? That's going to be interesting to watch. Obviously, we can't judge him too harshly on these 2 games, considering he's been appointed on the 27th of August, and his first game is in 10 days' time against Benin in Uyo. So let's see how it goes, but we wish him all the best. Look, we just want Nigeria to do well, so hopefully he could do that for us. Moving strictly on to the Nigeria squad. So the squad was announced today. They claim it was Bruno Labbadia who announced the squad, or picked the squad, but I mean, considering it was just announced today, I don't know. So much for quelling the rumors that it's the NFF that select these players. Anyway, overall thoughts, no real omissions apart from Aribo, in my opinion. Goalkeepers, we have Stanley Nwabali, Maduka Okoye, and a goalkeeper called Amos Omorogi on the official list. Now, one thing to note, as always with the NFF, if you search Amos Omorogi, you cannot find any information about this guy or if he's a goalkeeper at all. I don't know if they meant Owen Goodman, who's eligible to play for Nigeria and played in League 2 last year in England, or maybe more likely they meant Amas Obasogi. He plays for Bendel Insurance, and last season he had 18 clean sheets, 35 games. So let's see. But in true NFF fashion, they can't even get the names right. So let's see. Or maybe Amos Omorogi is some new guy we've never heard of before. His details are nowhere to be found. Not even on transfermarket.com. We can't find any information. So we'll see how Nigeria does on that one. But that's what we've seen so far. Anyway. So let's see. One thing that'll be interesting to see is who starts for Bruno Labbadia. Maduka Okoye has been doing well in Serie, but we know Nwabali has had a very, very impressive 2024. So let's see who gets the nod in the qualifier against Benin on Friday. Centre-backs, we had William Ekong, Semi Ajayi, Calvin Bassey, and Olisa Unda. Good to see Olisa Unda called up for the national team. You know I've clamored for his call-up a few times. But Igor Ugbo still not called up. Kevin Akpoguma still not called up. I'm not too mad at it simply because Ekong, Ajayi, and Bassey kind of established themselves with how they played in AFCON and previously as the first 3 centre-back selections. So really and truly, there's only space for one player, and they decided to go with Olisa Unda. I personally would have gone with Igor Ugbo, but Unda's played well for the national team in the few appearances he's had, so I'm not too mad about that one. Chidozie Awaziam's rightfully dropped. I hope he never plays for the national team again. No disrespect to him, but I mean, he's not of the level anymore, and he moved to MLS, so good riddance. No disrespect. He's a nice guy, but he should not play for Nigeria. And also, Tanimu was dropped, so the fullback who plays in the Tanzanian league. I know the Tanzanian league has not really kicked off, so maybe that's also played a part in it. But also, you guys know my opinion on Tanimu. I don't think he's ready to be one of the first 2 players called up in the right-back options, considering what we have. Fullbacks, no real surprise there. All I know was called up by Osayi-Samuel and Bruno Yemachi. All I know can play both flanks. He's currently playing left back for Nottingham Forest, but we know he plays as a right back for Nigeria. Zedu Sanusi is still injured, so I believe Sanusi would have been called up there. So let's see what happens. Maybe Brighter Samuel will start. I doubt Yemachi will start, so interesting to see. Midfielders, I'm satisfied with the 6 picks. We had Alex Iwobi, Frank Onyeka, Alassane Yusuf, Ndidi, Fisayo, Dele-Bashiru, and Rafael Oyedika. You guys know how much I rave about Fisayo Dele-Bashiru anyway. I think Aribo is slightly unlucky not to be called up, considering that he's finally started games in the Premier League for Southampton. And Alassane Yusuf just moved to the MLS. I'm not really sure if he's made a start yet. And to be honest, Frank Onyeka is still surviving off AFCON form. Onyeka has really had a very poor 2024 since coming back from the national team. He's still playing like chicken change minutes for Brentford in the first 2 games of the season, and it's one to watch in case he goes out on loan. One thing I wanted to call out is watch out for Crisanto Uche, the Getafe player. Yes, he's playing as a striker right now for Getafe, but we know he's a midfielder, so I'm sure his time will come for the national team. Wingers. Now, this is where my group in Nigeria comes. They selected only 3 wingers. I'm not too upset, but still, the usual suspects are in there. Ademola, Lookman, Samuel, Chukwueze, and Moses Simon. I think those three would always be called up at the moment, especially Simon based on his impact in the national team and being one of the senior leaders in the team. I personally would have liked to see Nathan Tella called up, or maybe Uche. I understand Uche not being called up because Simon and Lookman primarily play on the left wing for Nigeria. But Tella should have been called up because we know Nigeria mainly play with one striker. That's been the way we've played for pretty much the past 5-6 years. So, as usual, what did Nigeria do? They called up 4 strikers. Osimhen, automatic pick. Boniface, automatic pick, no problem. But Aina and Taiwo Awoniyi were both called up. I personally would have dropped Awoniyi. He's only just come back from injury. He's been playing, cameo minutes here and there for Nottingham Forest, but nothing substantial at the moment. Iheanacho started his first game for Sevilla tonight. Didn't really pull any punches, and let's be honest, Iheanacho has not really played well for club or country in a minute. All those minutes they've been giving Iheanacho on the right wing is pretty much stupid, and I'm sure it's one of the reasons Ndidi, even though he says he resigned, good riddance to Ndidi because he wasn't making sense with these choices. So anyway, let's see what happens with the squad. Ultimately, nothing too bad in there. First game, 7th of September against Benin Republic. Let's see how we get on in that game. And then we'll play Rwanda away on the 10th of September. Remember, both of these teams are also in our World Cup qualifying group. So it's very, very, very important that we show our best selves, even though it's just AFCON qualifiers. It's not just because we know Nigeria have missed a few in the last 10 years. So let's see how the team goes. One thing I will say, please do not judge the manager. There's not enough time. You've just hired somebody, and 10 days' time, he has to play a match. And beware of the homegrown merchants. I know why I'm saying this. In this squad, there's only potentially one homegrown player, which is the Amos Omorogi, which I believe is Amas Obasogi. So let's see. If the team does not win or doesn't play well, I don't want to hear people shouting, it's because they didn't call up home-based players. That's stupid, lazy analysis. Please stop it. But anyway, we wish Super Eagles well, and let's see how we get on in our World Cup qualifiers. We'll also, of course, be doing a preview of the game closer to the game next week and touching on what we expect from both teams and our score predictions. So look out for that one. So moving on quickly to player reviews for this week, I'll try to speed it up considering that we've spoken about the national team quite significantly today. Starting with the Premier League as usual, Alex Iwobi and Bassey both started for Fulham as you'd expect in their 2-1 win over Leicester City on Saturday. Alex Iwobi scored the winning goal, which was lovely to see. He's now scored in 10 successive Premier League seasons. That's how long Iwobi's been playing. Mind you, Iwobi's still 27, 28, I believe. So shout out to Alex Iwobi. When you think about longevity in the Prem, that's not an easy feat to play 10 consecutive seasons in the Prem. Only Kanu Nwankwo has a better record with 12. Next up for them, they've both been rested tonight as Fulham are playing in the EFL Cup away to Birmingham City. They're currently 2-0 up and will likely proceed to win the game. The second half just started. But more importantly, they play Ipswich away in the Premier League on Saturday. Moving on to Leicester, Wilfred Ndidi played 90 minutes in their 2-1 loss against Fulham. He's also starting tonight. They're currently 1-0 up against Tranmere. Jordan Ayew just scored. So let's see if they should win the game. I mean, it's Tranmere Rovers. But in the Prem, they play Aston Villa at home on Saturday. Very, very important game for Leicester. They're really going to have to rely on their home form to get points if we're judging their current performances so far. So let's see how they get on when Aston Villa show up. Aina played 90 minutes while Taiwo Awoniyi came off the bench, played 14 minutes in Nottingham Forest 1-0 win over Southampton. Really, really, really good performance from Aina. FPL players, if you noticed, Aina also got bonus points, so exceptional performance. I don't need to check. Watch out for Emmanuel Dennis. Let's see what happens between now and Friday when the transfer deadline comes, because he needs to move somewhere to actually play football. Next up for Nottingham Forest, they play Newcastle at home tomorrow. I'll be hoping to see Taiwo Awoniyi start that game. And then they play Wolverhampton at home on Saturday. Nottingham Forest started the season well. They're currently 7th. They've got 1 win and 1 draw from their first 2 games. So they'll be looking to build up on their good form under Espirito Santo against Wolves at home. Obviously, Wolves will be trying to bounce back after their 6-2 drubbing in the hands of Chelsea. But I favour Nottingham Forest to get a result in that game. Speaking of that same game, Aribo started, as I mentioned. He played 76 minutes. Pretty tidy. But Polonarchi was not in the squad. He looks like he may be on his way back to Trabzonspor, but let's see what happens between now and Friday. There's going to be so many transfers happening, including a few of our Nigerian players. So next week, we'll know what the new clubs are or current clubs are for all our Nigerian internationals. So look out. Next up for Southampton, they play Cardiff away tomorrow in EFL Cup, and then they play Brentford away against Frank Onyeka's team. Speaking of Frank Onyeka, Brentford are currently 13th. Frank Onyeka played 17 minutes on Sunday. He came off the bench in Brentford's 2-0 loss against Liverpool. Make or break season for him as far as I'm concerned. I saw on Twitter that his agent debunked rumors that no club is in for him. Apparently there have been loan offers, but I don't know about that one. Let's just see where Onyeka is by Saturday, basically. Let's see if he plays tomorrow. Hopefully he starts against Colchester in the EFL Cup, and then hopefully he could get a few more minutes when they host Southampton on Saturday. Other Premier League results to be aware about: Brighton beat Man United 2-1, last minute goal from João Pedro. Danny Welbeck also scored his 100th club career goal against Man United. Talk about, footballing scripts. I mean, you couldn't write that. Welbeck's going against Man United. Another last-minute dagger for Brighton against Man United. If you guys remember, a few years ago, Man United scored like some VAR penalty after like 100 minutes against Brighton. So when Brighton play Man U, it's always bass boast. Like, I remember Rashford chopping up Ben White one time, but that's long gone. Now Brighton are the captains of Man United right now. So let's see how they both get on following that. Tottenham smashed Everton 4-0. No surprise there. Everton are garbage. They need to be relegated ASAP unless they do something between now and the end of the transfer window. West Ham beat Crystal Palace 2-0. It's not been a very good start for Crystal Palace. They've been a bit unlucky, to be fair, but things unravel very, very quickly. So let's see how they get on. Manchester City beat Ipswich Town 4-1. Erling Haaland hat-trick. Nothing to say there. De Bruyne, great goal as well. It could have easily been 7, even though Ipswich scored first. And then that Ipswich Town goalkeeper, I don't know what he was thinking. Muric. The guy might be the worst goalkeeper to ever play in the Premier League. Like, what kind of mistakes can you make? I haven't heard on Who Scored or one of those apps. He had the worst ever rating for a goalkeeper ever in Prem history. Not surprising. The guy is garbage. On Saturday, 5:30 kickoff, my Arsenal, we went to Villa Park and secured a big boy result. You know I'm talking about. 2-0. Leandro Trossard. Put it in the net. Partey with the clincher. Shout out to David Raya. Excellent game and goal. And also William Saliba. I mean, Saliba's best defender in the Prem for me, I'm not going to lie. I won't say in the world yet because you still have Rudiger and the, Real Madrid Donnies. But we're getting there. Everything Saliba does. Also, PFA Team of the Year was announced last week. Saliba, back-to-back PFA Team of the Year. His last season in League One, Team of the Year. Euros, Team of the Tournament. So, my boy, generational talent. Once transfer window's done, I need Edo and Co to lock him down in a new contract. Anyway, on Sunday, we saw Bournemouth draw 1-1 against Newcastle and then Chelsea. You know what? We can all be haters, but we have to admit when things go well. They absolutely put Wolves to the sword. I mean, talk about Noni Madueke. He posted something on what was supposed to be his private Snapchat saying how shit Wolves is. I mean, it's not that wrong. When you're born and raised in London, you live in London. Wolves is no London. But still, you upset the whole of Wolverhampton and their club and their players. And then you go to their stadium and score your first career hat-trick in the Prem. Talk about standing on business. Honestly, Madueke, we are watching. Even yourself, I'm eyeing you for Nigeria. So we continue to monitor. But great performance. Anyway, game week 3 fixtures. Oh, actually, I just got an update. Wilfred Ndidi's just scored for Leicester against Tranmere. They're 3-0 up. So shout out to Wilfred Ndidi. Well done. I want to see more of that box-to-box movement that he did last year under Maresca. So let's see. Anyway, game week 3 fixtures in the Prem to watch out for. I've already mentioned the one involving Nigerian players. So 12:30 kickoff, Arsenal hosts Brighton at the Emirates. Hopefully I'm going to be at that game. So really excited, and hopefully we can make it 3 wins from 3. 3 p.m. kickoffs, Everton play Bournemouth. Man City go to West Ham in a 5:30 p.m. game. Do not think West Ham could do something against Man City. Man City are going to crash it on them again. Haaland did it last season. First game of the season where he scored, I think his first ever game in the Prem. He scored 2 goals against West Ham. So trust me, he's going to put them to the sword. Captain Haaland, your FPL. Then on Sunday, we're going to see Chelsea host Crystal Palace. That should be a tasty game with all the changes at Chelsea. Will Osimhen be a Chelsea player by then? Who knows? But we'll continue to monitor. Newcastle then play Tottenham at St. James's Park. That should be a fantastic game. I'm actually looking forward to that. But Newcastle have started the season really poorly. So, and Isak, man, you're fucking on my FPL. I don't like that, man. Rise it. Wake up. And then the big one this weekend, Manchester United at Liverpool versus Liverpool at Old Trafford. I mean, you remember what happened last season? Kobe Mainoo. Liverpool finally dropped points, and I thought Arsenal had the advantage in the Prem race, but we all know how that went. So we continue to monitor and see how it goes. Anyway, Table is still too early, but main thing to call out, 4 teams have won 2 out of 2. Man City, Brighton, Arsenal, Liverpool. So the usual suspects are up there already. So let's see how they get on. Everton, Ipswich. I'm calling in now. I think those 2 teams getting relegated. I'm not sure who the third one's going to join them, but let's see. Anyway, in the championship, just to quickly whiz through, Ajayi and Maja both played 90 minutes, and Josh Maja scored the winning goal. So he's got his 4th goal already in the league in their 2-1 win over Stoke on Saturday. Next up for them, they play Swansea at home on Saturday because they're already out of the EFL Cup. Tom Dele-Bashiru's Watford are second. They continue to do really, really well. He played 90 minutes in a 2-1 win over Derby on Saturday. He's also starting at the moment, and they're currently 2-0 up against Plymouth, which is managed by Wayne, but we don't know Wayne's going to get the sack soon. I don't know when, but just watch out. And then they play Sheffield United away on Sunday. Elijah Adebayo's Luton Town, they're struggling in the league this season, currently 23rd out of 24 teams. He played 90 minutes in a 1-0 loss to Preston on Saturday. He's starting at the moment. It's currently 1-1 against QPR away, and then they play QPR again on Friday. And finally, Plymouth, Mohamed Tijani has not been in squad. He's currently injured because he's not playing right now against Watford. He was not in the squad over the weekend, so we wish him a swift recovery and let's see how he gets on. Moving on, Serie, Victor Osimhen. We all already know what's going on. If you're a Nigerian fan and you watch Super Eagles, you know right now there's a lot of transfer news around Victor Osimhen. He's not in the squad. His chapter in Napoli is definitely over. Lukaku's deal to Napoli is all but confirmed. Here we go from Fabrizio Romano. That's probably speed up the process. From what we've heard, there's 2 teams in for Osimhen right now, and it's pretty much a 2-club race between Al Ahly in Saudi and Chelsea. Chelsea do not want to pay the terms that Napoli want, or the wages that Osimhen is requesting, apparently. I think there's also something with the tax, because in Serie they had a tax law that just got scraped this summer, where if you're a foreign player, you get certain tax exemptions if you sign for a big club. Obviously, none of that in the Prem. They're going to tax you 45%. So there's some things going on with the money anyway, but let's see. We also know that Napoli have given the green light to Al Ahly in terms of the fee, 65 million euros, which is kind of interesting because you've been quoting all these stupid figures for all the clubs in Europe. Now all of a sudden you want to accept 65 million from Saudi. Although knowing Saudi, they'll play that 65 mil up front. So maybe there's something with the payment terms. Anyway, one to watch. All I know is by 11 p.m. on Friday, we will know which club Victor Osimhen is playing for. It'll either be Chelsea, it'll either be Al Ahly. I've heard it's unlikely to be PSG, but watch this space. Let's see what happens. And it will be nice to finally talk about Osimhen playing football rather than being on the bench. We've got games next week, for Christ's sake. And our star player is literally not playing minutes. He's not match fit because he's training on... Oh, my God. Anyway, I just want this thing to be over. Let's see what happens. So we see what's going on with Osimhen, and we'll start reporting on whichever club he's playing for from next season. Even if he forces us to talk about Saudi, because you know me, I don't really like to talk about Saudi. Even Ekong. Maybe Ekong on Osimhen will make me talk, but we'll see. Anyway, Ademola Lookman as well. He's currently not been in the squad for Atalanta. He didn't play again in their 2-1 loss against Torino on Sunday. I'm a bit surprised with this one because I feel like Lookman, they showed him all the love. You just delivered their first trophy in 64 years. Like, why are you such a hurry? You're going to play in the Champions League next season. Gasperini's retooled the squad. I don't really get it. But it looks like for some reason, Lookman's really determined to leave. So let's see what happens. Anyway, he will either be at Atalanta or he won't be by Friday. But they play Inter Milan away on Friday, so watch this space. Maduka Okoye played 90 minutes for Udinese in their 2-1 win against Lazio on Saturday. Really, really unlucky for him. He was 1 minute away from keeping another clean sheet, but they still won the game. So shout out to Udinese, currently 5th in Serie A. Next up, they play Cesc Fabregas' Como at home on Sunday. So hopefully Maduka can get another clean sheet before he jets off to come and represent the Super Eagles. AC Milan, it's been a terrible start to the season. 14th in Serie A at the moment. Chukwueze came on in the 86th minute, getting slave minutes again. AC Milan lost the game 2-1. It's not looking good at the moment for Chukwueze, but hopefully, maybe, being around Osimhen and being around all the banter in Nigeria will just raise his spirits. So let's see what happens. But next up for them, they play Fisayo Dele-Bashiru's Lazio away on Saturday. So that's going to be a tough game, and they just may lose their next game. Speaking of Lazio, Fisayo Dele-Bashiru started again, of course, after his impressive debut in Serie A last week. Lazio lost 2-1 to Maduka Okoye's Udinese, but they have a chance of redemption this Saturday when they play AC Milan at home on Saturday. So let's see how that one goes. In Germany, Victor Boniface started, played 82 minutes. Tella was an unused sub in the opening game of the Bundesliga. Leverkusen beat Gladbach 3-2 with yet another last-minute goal. This time a penalty for Florian Wirtz. So let's see how they progress. They Leverkusen do play in the DFB Pokal on Wednesday, but Boniface is suspended in the Pokal because he got suspended for unsportsmanlike behavior in the Super Cup. He gave the middle finger to somebody anyway, and he's been fined 25,000 euros. I love Boniface's humor. I think he tweeted something like, "After the fine I've been given, nobody should bill him or something," because 25,000 euros. People love to ask footballers how they're doing when the money's coming in, but this man has just been fined 45 million naira. So it's always a good saying footballers are raking in the money, but they're also paying a lot. So anyway, next up for Bayer Leverkusen, they play Leipzig at home on Saturday. That should be a tasty, tasty game with two of the best teams in the Bundesliga. Captain Akpoguma started for Hoffenheim, their 3-2 win over Holstein Kiel on Saturday. I don't know why he's literally being overlooked for the national team, but maybe his commitment will come into question. Anyway, we have a German manager, so you know what I'm saying. Maybe he will revive Akpoguma there, but one to watch and monitor. Next up for them, they play Frankfurt away on Saturday, which will be a tough game. That means Akpoguma is going to play against Hugo Ekitike, who's had a very, very good start to the season so far in the Bundesliga. In La Liga, Crisantos Uche played 90 minutes and got a yellow card in Getafe's 0-0 draw against Rayo Vallecano. He put himself about, but, you know, it's a bit of a struggle for him. But anyway, they play Real Sociedad at home on Sunday, so hopefully home comforts can lead to a better performance. Sevilla, Chidera Juke played 19 minutes and looked very impressive. While Iheanacho came on and played 12 minutes on Friday. They lost 2-1 to Villarreal. Villarreal scored a last-minute goal by Ayoze Perez. You remember him from the Premier League, Leicester and Newcastle, wink, wink. However, earlier today, they both started as Sevilla drew 0-0 away to Mallorca. Not the best performance, but let's see how they both get on in the next game against Crisantos. Against Girona at home on Sunday. That'll be a tough game. Speaking of Real Sociedad, Omar Sadiq played 23 minutes off the bench in their 1-0 win over Espanyol on Saturday. Next up for them, they play Deportivo Alaves in La Liga tomorrow, and then they play Getafe away against Crisantos Uche on Sunday. In Ligue 1, Gift Auburn was not in the squad for Lyon as they lost 2-0 to Monaco. It pretty much looks like he needs to leave Lyon ASAP. So let's hope he finds a little move before deadline. They haven't heard any rumors, but he's not going to play for Lyon. Next up for Lyon, anyway, they play Strasbourg at home on Friday, so we'll keep a keen eye on that one. Akko Adams, man, I'm so sorry, my guy, man. He played 23 minutes. Montpellier got put to the sword by PSG. 6-0. Talk about a flogging, man. PSG looks so much better without a certain somebody who's moved to Madrid. I mean, PSG, plus 9 goal difference after the first 2 games of the season. Anyway, we'll be there to monitor. Auxerre, Gabriel Oshó played 90 minutes in their 2-0 loss to Nice on Sunday. Considered a goal to... it wasn't to Nice. To Nantes. Because basically Moses Simon scored. That's how I know it was Nantes. Next up for them, they play Le Havre away on Sunday. I'm a bit surprised not to see Oshó in there, but hopefully his time will come with the Super Eagles. And speaking of Moses Simon, good to see him get off the mark for the season with his first goal for the season in Nantes 2-0 win over Oshó's Auxerre. He was also named man of the match, so hopefully Simon can carry that form into the national team. But before then, he plays Montpellier away on Saturday. So that's it in terms of the top 5 leagues in Europe for this weekend. Just to round up the podcast, though, the other leagues, I'll try and whiz through this one. Bruno Yemachi played 90 minutes for Boavista. They lost 1-0 to Famalicão. Next up for them, they play Estoril at home on Saturday. They're currently 11th in the league, so we'll see how they get on in that one. Moving on to the Jupiler League in Belgium, Oyedika played 90 minutes for Club Brugge in a 2-1 win over FCV Dender on Sunday. Next up for him, he plays Cercle Brugge on Sunday. Hopefully keep up the good form. Arokodare and Yeresor's Genk were not in action over the weekend. Next up for them, they play Westerlo at home on Friday. As for Victor Udo, Royal Antwerp, he played 4 minutes in a 1-0 loss to KV Mechelen on Saturday. Next up for them, they play Ghent away on Sunday. Speaking of Ghent, Jordan Torunariga played 90 minutes ago, yellow card in a 1-0 win over Partizan Belgrade on Thursday, Conference League qualification. They didn't play any game this weekend because certain leagues like to postpone fixtures if their big teams are playing or have crucial games in Europe, so that seems to be the case here. So his next game is going to be in the second leg against Partizan Belgrade, which will be taking place this Thursday. After that, he will play Royal Antwerp at home on Sunday. In the Turkish league, Osayi-Samuel was not in the squad for Fenerbahce's 5-0 win over Rizespor. He's been called up for the national team, so even if he's injured, it can't be a big injury. But let's see if he features on Friday when Fenerbahce play Alanyaspor at home. Obviously, I'm sure Mourinho's going to try and win the league. Fenerbahce haven't won the league in like 11 years, so that's really going to be one to monitor for sure. And then Anthony Nwekeme, no games for Trabzonspor. Next up for them, they've got a Conference League qualifier against St. Gallen at home on Thursday. And then they play a Sport away on Sunday. As for Kasimpasa, Kenneth Merrow came on in the 90th minute. So second game coming on as very late sub. So he's clearly lost his place in the starting 11. Let's see what happens when they play Sport away on Saturday. In Scotland, Cyriel Dessers continues to be a small team bully. One thing I find about Dessers, every time he's played in Belgium or Scotland or a weaker league, he's such a goal machine. Every time he's been in Serie A, Wahala, Cremonese, I know how many goals he scored last year. I don't think he scored up to 5. But anyway, he's at a place where he could bully the small teams. And that's exactly what he's doing for Rangers. So this weekend, he scored 2 goals, played 66 minutes as they beat Ross County 6-0. Just for context, I'm not sure Ross County would beat like a League 2 side in England. But anyway, you got to beat who's in front of you, and Dessers is doing exactly just that. This Sunday, though, it's the big one. It's the Old Firm Derby. So Rangers go away to Celtic. They go to Celtic Park away on Sunday. First Old Firm game of the season. So that should be a big, big blockbuster game, and hopefully Dessers could, shine, because that's a really big one. If you want the Rangers fans to love you, score and win against Celtic. In Czech Republic, Igor Ugbo played 90 minutes in Slavia Prague's 2-0 loss to Lille on Tuesday's Champions League qualification. So it's very unlikely they will probably not make it. But the second leg is tomorrow at home. So let's see if they could get better with their performances on there. It must be said, though, like the chances of them beating Lille are pretty slim to none. Jonathan David's been playing really well for Lille, so let's see how that one goes. And then they play Barra Dubis at home on Sunday. As for Victor Olatunji, last week he started their Champions League qualification game where they beat Malmo 2-0 away. The good news is he also started tonight as they beat Malmo 2-0. So Sparta Braga are officially in the Champions League, and we will be seeing Victor Olatunji play in the Champions League. Yet another Nigerian striker that we will witness in Champions League. So good luck to you, Victor Olatunji, and looking forward to watching you in the Champions League. In the league, they will play Hradec Kralova away on Saturday. And then finally, club-wise, Orlando Pirates, Olisanda was in action in their 4-0 win over Synapse. 6-0 on aggregate. That was in the Champions League. Is that the Champions League for I'm not sure it was Champions League. It might have been the CAF Champions League preliminary qualifiers. So they drew the first leg 0-0, but the second leg they smashed them 4-0. Olisanda played that game. And then this weekend, they play against Cape Town City FC. Actually, on Wednesday first in the MTN 8 Cup. So that's like a side cup, almost like the League Cup in South Africa. And then return leg will be on Saturday against the same opponent. So they should beat them. Also, congrats to Olisanda. Really nice to see him called up. So hopefully he can stake a claim and perform well if he gets any minutes. Stanley Nwabali's season has not started. We would have expected interest for him, but it hasn't materialized. So he will be staying with Chippa United. No games Chippa United until after the international break. So let's see how that plays out in terms of starting as well, because Nwabali's basically played no games this season. So will Okoye get the nod? All shall be revealed. Nigerian news, Trustekong has moved to Al Khulud. They lost their first game 1-0, but I'm happy for Trustekong. Go get your money. You've done well in Europe. You've been a Super Eagles servant for over almost 10 years now. AFCON MVP. I can't even begrudge him a move. He's 30. He was born the same year as me, so he's 31. Go and make your coin and make your family happy, but still make sure you're performing for the national team. And what we saw in the Euros, players like Laporte, who still play in Saudi, they didn't really look like they lost the step. So hopefully that'll be the same for Ekong. I just wanted to send my condolences to Heartland FC. Their coach from last season, Christian Obi, was killed. There was a car crash as they were on their way to play a game. Really, really sad news. And, we really want to just send our best wishes to his family and everyone associated with Heartland FC. CAF Champions League results for our Nigerian teams. Enugu Rangers drew with Zilmaju on Friday at home. They won 2-1 on aggregate. So that's good news for them. No, they couldn't have drawn and then won 2-0 on aggregate. That does not make sense. Oh, no, they were 1-0 up from the first leg. So the second leg was 1-1. So it's 2-1 on aggregate. So congratulations to Enugu Rangers. They moved to the second stage of the CAF Champions League qualifiers. There will still be another home and away leg before they can officially make it to the group stages. But good omens for Enugu Rangers and wish them all the success. Unfortunately, it was bad news for Remo Stars. I knew it would be a tough one, but they lost 2-0 to AS FAR in Morocco on Sunday. So they lost 3-2 on aggregate, and they will not play in the CAF Champions League this season. I believe that means they go to the Confederations Cup, but let's see and watch the space on Remo Stars. Star Boy of the Week. Bronze, I'll give it to Moses Simon. Always been an integral part for Nantes. See him scoring again is always good. And Nantes absolutely love him. League One, big league, you know. And seeing Simon back in business is good. So he gets the bronze medal. Silver medal goes Cyriel Dessers, our small team bully. Brace again. You know, he started the season on fire for Rangers, so we can't even begrudge him any praise. But for me, my gold medal for the week goes to Alex Iwobi. Alex Iwobi scored the winner for Fulham against Leicester City, against fellow Nigerians. Iwobi has been very impressive this season. I expect him to even come on in leaps and bounds playing with Smith Rowe. And Fulham should get a bit more attacking with Rodrigo Muniz up top. But it's good to see Iwobi continue to flourish, continue to shine. So, Alex Iwobi, you are my star boy of the week with the gold. Ones to watch for the rest of the week. Tomorrow, Igogbo's in action in the Champions League qualifier against Lille. Hopefully, a miracle could happen and Slavia Prague could reduce deficit from a two-goal deficit and somehow win the tie. On Friday, we will see Ako Adams against Moses Simon with Montpellier playing Nantes. On Saturday, we see Wilfred Ndidi's Leicester play against Aston Villa. So hopefully he can build on his strong performance today. We also see the battle of Super Eagles midfielders Aribo versus Frank Onyeka as Southampton take on Brentford in 3 p.m. kickoff. And then later that night, we see Samuel Chukwueze's AC Milan play Fisara Dele-Bashiru's Lazio, which should be a very, very interesting game. On Sunday, we also have battle of Nigerians with Chrysanthus Uche's Getafe playing Omar Sadiq's Real Sociedad. And then Cyriel Dessers will be in action in the Old Firm derby for Rangers against Celtic. Like I said, big week ahead in terms of transfers. We'll see where about 4 or 5 of our players end up by next week. And also after this round of fixtures, we go to the international break. So we will be doing the preview of Nigeria's fixtures against Benin and Rwanda. Until next time, it's been a pleasure as always. Thanks again for rocking with us. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe on YouTube, Nigeria Football Weekly. On all our social media handles, we're Nigeria Football Weekly everywhere except on Twitter, where we are at NFW Pod. NFWPOD. Thanks again for all the support. You've been running up on TikTok and running up on Instagram. So I really want to send my gratitude and thanks to everyone who's been rocking with me and the podcast. Enjoy the rest of the week. Enjoy all the games. And next week, we'll bring you the preview of the game against Benin and Rwanda, and also touching on how our players performed in all their fixtures between now and next week. Until next time, take care. And it's been a pleasure as always. Ciao, ciao. Thanks for watching this video. Please like, share, subscribe, and click the bell to get a notification whenever we drop a video. You can also find our social media channels listed below. And of course, up Super Eagles and Nigeriano they ever carry last.